Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to The Scope. And now, here are your hosts, Jared, Adam, and Shane.
Hello, everybody. Episode 324 of your Scope program. We're back. It's been a couple of months. The crowd
We're kind of doing these quarterly now. This is our Q3 episodes.
We love it. We absolutely love it. We're
going over our financials in a minute here.
Yeah.
Absolutely. We're going to say everything positive for the investors. We're not going to show any signs of weakness. Except
I'm going to talk about points. I'm going to talk about EBITDA. Is that a thing? I don't know.
Yep, EBITDA is absolutely a thing.
I don't know what it means, but I've heard it.
Yeah, it's important. I don't want our listeners to worry about Adam, however. He's got a little bit of a cough. He's got a cough drop in mouth.
Yeah,
Adam,
you're going to be able to hear it every time I talk.
Adam, pretend like you're tap dancing with that. Look at him go. Those lightning feet.
If you close your eyes, it's like the clinking of ice in your cocktail glass.
Wait until we're eating stuff, and all my opinions are invalid because.
Oh yeah, everything's gonna be menthol.
Yep.
And disgusting. Wow. Well. Yeah.
I just rediscovered the default set in my sound app.
Well, I think we're in for a treat.
Oh yeah, you don't even know what's coming.
Oh, that's exciting. Well, Adam, I have not talked to you since our last show, and at least for me, my life, and Jared knows this, the last quarter of my life has been bonkers. So I thought I would just go through the list and get your reactions. You may or may not know. So I think
give us the threat down. I
think our last show was in late July, early August.
Yeah, it was a holiday because we ate July 4th foods, right?
We had July 4th food or summer food, typical with us. But so I think at that time I had announced that I need to get gallbladder surgery, and I announced that Carrie was getting rotator cuff surgery.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So during all of this stuff, there were layoffs going on at my old job. I guess that's foreshadowing.
Whoa, foreshadow.
And things were very weird, and in the sense that we knew they were coming, but management wasn't really being forthright about it. And then when they finally did sort of come clean, they gave us a month, Adam. They're like, okay, it should happen before the end of this period. So everybody is just coming into work every day wondering, is this going to be the day? And then what ends up happening is somebody you worked with forever all of a sudden is not there and not mentioned and not anything like that. So it was a very stressful 2 weeks. And during all of this, an old coworker of mine that you may have worked with back in the old Dow Jones days came to me and said, I have a job opportunity for you. You might want to apply for this because I think you'd be a good fit. So this was literally a week before my gallbladder surgery, so I was rushing to get a resume and portfolio together while worrying about my job and preparing for a job interview with, something I haven't done in years, while having periodic gallbladder pain, where it would wake me up in the middle of the night and then be up for 6 hours. So during this, we had to rush to get that interview in, because the gallbladder surgery was coming. And if I was going to get laid off, I wanted to make sure that I had health insurance. So it was something where it was just like, boom, boom, boom. I had my interview. I thought it went okay. Apparently it went better because they were very interested and I had a job offer fairly quickly, but it was like 2 days before my surgery. So we had to put everything on hold. I went in, had surgery, was out of commission for a week, felt like crap for a good 5 days, and then came back still like all loopy and loco, and then had to start making decisions about whether I was going to take this new job and leave the job that I had been at for over 20 years, which, spoiler alert, I did. And then, during this time period, Audrey went off to college. So my kid left me. So we were super sad and crying about that.
You lost a gallbladder. You lost a kid.
Yep.
Not literally lost a kid, just from the home.
Yep. And that's one of the other reasons why I wanted to get that surgery so quickly, was because Carrie could not help with any of the moving with my kid going to her college. So I had to be cut up, fixed, and healed before move-in day, which I literally came in right under the wire. And so yeah, Audrey was gone for a week, and the weekend that she left, a couple days later, Carrie had her rotator cuff surgery, which means she'll be out of work for 6 months, I think, something like up to 6 months, because it's that aggressive of a surgery. Her surgery went fantastic. And then Audrey came back like the next day or she was still here because we had a concert that we had before that. And the day after Carrie's surgery, we woke up in the middle of the night to find our 1-year-old cat had shattered his hip. And he was meowing in pain. And this was right before Labor Day. So this was the Friday into Saturday of Labor Day weekend. So Audrey and I had to find an emergency vet because we didn't even know what happened. He literally just couldn't move and was limping terribly. We hoped it was a muscle pull, but our history with cats tells you that is not going to be the case. So yeah, we found a place. They did an X-ray, and they're like, yeah, that's he shattered his hip. We don't see that very often. It's kind of a weird thing. I'm like, well, our cat 15 years ago, almost to the day, did the same exact thing. And they said, oh, that's crazy. When you get it fixed, if we can get you in a month, it's going to be about $3,000 to fix your cat's hip.
You got a Bermuda Triangle for cats over there.
Right. Yep. And then the next day, Audrey went back to school, and I was left dealing with a wife that could not lift her shoulder, a cat that could not move around, tried to schedule all of this stuff. And I literally that was my second week. I was starting my second week of work, which I actually only had worked 3 days when Carrie had her surgery and the cat broke his hip. So I was utterly freaked out. I'm still pretty freaked out, to be honest with you. Like I'm learning a lot in my job, and the cat's on the mend. He made it through his surgery, and Carrie's on the mend, but it's still a lot to deal with. So it's been a crazy 2 months, and that's one of the reasons why we have not had any scopes, because I literally have been just trying to keep my head on, trying to get through all this stuff. Questions, Adam?
I want to congratulate Carrie on her fast recovery. I don't know if you remember, but Johan Santana, when he was on the Mets at the time, but he had rotator cuff surgery. He missed an entire season of baseball. Yeah. He missed the 2011 season. So for Carrie to come back in 6 months, just a champ.
She can be ready for spring training?
I hope so. I mean, she literally just the other day started real physical therapy, going into a place and getting exercise. I mean, her physical therapy post-surgery was literally leaning over a table and letting her arm just go in a small circle. I mean, that's what it starts at. And then it's just, you start building on it, and she's in
I had
pain.
to do similar stuff when I was dealing with my frozen shoulder. It was you're just like getting that mobility back is a challenge.
Yeah, that's frozen shoulders, no joke, and that can actually come out of this. So
usually it's from a because your shoulder's been immobilized from an injury or recovery from surgery. I didn't have any of that, but hopefully she doesn't have to go through that, because it's annoying.
Yeah, we definitely don't want that. So, question two.
How's the new job?
I mean, I'm not gonna get into specifics like what it is. But it's definitely in the same realm as what I do or what I've done before. So,
so murder for hire,
assassin, part-time assassin.
It's talk about it, but he does have a stash of gold coins to pay people with.
Exactly. Yeah, it's funny. Like it's so new. Like I don't talk about much of anything about myself. I'm sort of feeling out everything. So nobody there knows that I do podcasting, although I've had people say, yeah, you've got a really good voice, That was when I was on my interview. Tell me if you
trading since 2006, baby.
Yeah. On my interview, I got word back from the person that recommended me for the jobs. Somebody said that I reminded them of Harry Shearer as a voice. Do you guys hear that, or is that a weird thing? I've never heard that. That was the first time.
I don't know that I've heard his voice, his normal, his non-character voice.
Well, I need to take a hard look at all of his Simpsons characters, and maybe that could be my gig. If AI can't replace him when he finally retires, maybe I'm the guy that can do it. But yeah, I mean, it's like still feeling it out. I worked with some of those other people for so long that they were like siblings, and I knew everything about them. It was not I could sort of predict behaviors, and now I'm in a whole different place that's a far different corporate setting. It is full of very kind of specific teams that do things that I would have done by myself. So it's full of a lot of experts and just a lot of stuff that I'm not used to. So
what are you guys doing? You doing agile, waterfall? What's your development process like there?
It's a little bit of everything, but it's more agile overall. So it's a lot of meetings. Everybody has opinions on things, which I suppose is a good thing. I talked to Jared about it. Like I get up every morning with super high imposter syndrome, and I may have a couple good things that get me through the day, and then I finish the day thinking, what did I screw up? And then I go through that process again when I get up the next day. Luckily, it's getting a little bit better as I go through, but I'm just trying not to screw up, not to look like an idiot, and try to learn stuff as fast as I can, because there's definitely a lot to learn. But
Shane, I think you are a capable human being.
Thanks, Adam. I appreciate that. And I'm going to keep internalizing that and use that as my mantra, along with all of my focus and my visualization, and that'll get me through the day. But yeah, it was a good move. I don't regret it. It was time to find a different job. I think the thing that I probably regret most is that I waited far too long to make a move to advance my career and do something different. And Jared and I have talked about that. He did that a few years back, and it was an absolute inspiration to me. And I just wish it would have been 10% more inspiration, because I would have done something faster. So
sometimes you gotta do what's right for you.
Yeah. So good job, Jared.
Chase the dollar. Enough about you. What is the long-term prognosis on the cat?
So he's limping. He will continue to limp, but it's getting better every day. Prognosis, if it's the same as our previous cat, Turk, at some point we won't even know, right? So what they told me was when a cat breaks his or her hip like that at that age, the cat is full grown, but the bone and the tissue around it is still not solidified. So it can be pretty common if they're roughhousing or doing something stupid and aggressive. They can shatter that end of that hip, or the bone that goes into the hip. So what they do is they make an incision. They literally take that piece off, shave it down a little bit, and then they let that new bone sort of make a pocket in that tissue. And over time, the pocket will happen, the bone will harden, the tissue will harden, and then it will hopefully be like a regular hip joint. So that is the hope, that he will be completely normal. He is a bit chunky and lazy, so physical therapy, he's not doing all the exercises we told him to do.
Gotta get him on one of those water treadmills like I see on Instagram. With
exactly.
The chocolate cats. Get them on there.
Yeah, they actually, it's so funny. When we did this 15 years ago, it was like, just, once the incision's healed, let him walk around and do whatever. And, c'est la vie. This time around, it was, hey, you have to do these exercises. You should be massaging. You should be ice packing. I mean, it literally was like a human physical therapy situation. So hopefully what we did helped.
Hopefully.
Fingers crossed. So yeah, that's my life, which is plenty. I'm far happier to be here with you guys. Do you have anything to share about your lives before we get into the guts of episode 324? Dead silence.
Fantasy football, I'm in first and second place in the two leagues I'm in. So that'll come crashing down real soon, I think. But that's been to a few concerts, because what's it called? COVID's done.
COVID's done, man.
Sure, 100% done. I mean, ignore all those people who are getting COVID.
You saw you told me off camera you saw Postal Service / Death Cab.
Mm-hmm.
Who else have you seen?
We went and saw Matt and Kim because we will always go to Matt and Kim concerts. We went to Guster at Utiples out in kind of whatever. That's probably Minneapolis. That's a cool venue. It's just outside their brewery, but that's cool. I don't like beer, and I do like to drink when I go to a concert. So that's my negative about going to brewery concerts.
Right.
But what are you gonna do? We went to Virginia Beach again.
Right.
This year, so that was great.
That was like your summer break.
Mm-hmm.
Good.
Yeah. Just
we saw the
typical
summer stuff. Yeah.
We finally
go ahead.
We finally made a trip to Omaha, which has been an annual tradition for us, but it's been a number of years, and we finally the occasion for the trip was, so we had planned to go Labor Day weekend anyway. We ended up having to go a week early because my partner Angela's father was in hospice care and was going to ultimately pass away. So that was a sad occasion, but we did make it down there, and we were able to, spend some time with him before he went, such as it was. But then the rest of the trip was it was a weird, a tale of two. It was basically kind of two trips. It was the sad part in the beginning, and then that resolved itself as these things do. That's sort of an antiseptic way to put it, but it did,
right.
It was expected that he would pass, and he did. And we got through it as a family and dealt with it. And then there was the back half where we actually got to, do our Omaha stuff and have some fun. And I will probably talk a little bit about the funner part of it as it relates to our B block. So I won't get into too much detail on that, but yeah, we did that. That was nice. It was nice to get down there again and see some family. Go to Costco,
That's what, 10 years ago when we did this show, it was nothing but drinking and partying.
Yep.
Now it's gallbladders, cat hips, and Costco.
Costco subscriptions.
Wow. How far we've come.
So complete non sequitur, but I don't know where else to put it in the show, so I'm going to do it right here. I mentioned beforehand that I came across something that I wanted to share. And so this was I have Google Photos because I have a Pixel, and every once in a while it likes to surface some memory from the past. Like, hey, here's this thing that happened on this day X number of years ago. Mm-hmm. And one of the things it showed to me was this absolute banger. Is it going to focus? Come on, focus.
So
there we go. That's from one of our podcasting sessions. And Adam is just at his finest.
Adam. So to describe the picture, it's Adam hunched over, sunglasses.
And there's this the child Shane.
Hat. Oh, look at that egghead. It's so frightening. Adam, you look tough in that picture, man. A big burly beard.
Yeah. I am pretty tough. I like the glasses. I forget that I had glasses for most of my adult life.
We got to get back together in a room.
I forget why you took on this persona, but I was very amused when I came across this photo, so I had to share it. Anyway,
I love it.
I think that was from 2008. No, 15. 15. I think that
could have been either. We've been doing this so long.
It's been a long time ago. Yeah.
Gosh almighty. Well, thank you for sharing that.
You're welcome.
Jared, it was a treat. That's what I'm going to say. So listen, we got to get back into the swing of things. That means we're going to bring to our listeners a classic scope bit that's coming up in the B block. We're calling it What We're Into. So that'll be fun. We're going to have hijinks. We're going to have clips. We're going to have everything. It is going to be fantastic.
No promise on the pluralization of clips. There's at least one.
We'll have clip.
We'll have clip.
All right, let's take a break. We'll be back with 324 right after this.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is the traditional break between the A block and the B block where I get on the mic and I vamp and I talk to you about Patreon. You know Patreon, right? You're probably supporting other creators on Patreon. Well, we are creators and we're on Patreon. You want to support the show? You want to keep us flush with holiday snacks and treats? You want to support the habits and interesting things that we're into? Consider supporting the show directly at patreon.com/The Scope Show. Says here you can pledge as little as $1 per episode and set a monthly cap. That seems like a pretty low bar to clear because, like I said before, we're only really doing these quarterly, so it's not going to cost you very much. But when we do post an episode, you're going to get charged for it, and it helps us. This show isn't free. I had to spend $20 for 1 month of Zencastr for us to record this. So go ahead, go to patreon.com/The Scope Show today and be a patron. Support us. Encourage us. Let us know that you want us to keep doing this on a semi-regular basis. Patreon.com/The Scope Show for more information.
We are back, episode 324, The Scope Show. Jared, Adam, Shane in the house, virtually. That's how it is. COVID may be gone, but we refuse to get back together. Probably for the best.
Honestly, it has nothing to do with COVID right now. It has everything to do with the fact that it's just more convenient.
Right.
None of us have to travel. I mean, Shane, Shane is 3 minutes away, but for Adam, it's a bigger lift.
Someday, Jared, I would like to come and record in studio with you. Can we make that happen?
We can. I would need an advance notice because I don't know the last time that I've seen the table that it's currently behind a I don't know what you call this, a scrim with some sort of sparkly fabric on it that is a backdrop that Angela usually films videos against. So it's back there collecting dust, but I still have the equipment.
We're gonna do it.
Still make it work.
Shane, let's just get together and show up at Jared's house one day.
Let's do it. I mean, he would not be annoyed. He would be totally into it. He loves that sort of surprise. So,
yes, I'm the sort of person who just loves an impromptu drop in. That is my jam.
He not only would he not let us in, he would probably boil water and throw it at us through the window. If we were lucky. If it was just water, maybe urine.
Well, I have been installing murder holes this summer. So.
Okay. Well, I mean, that's good to know. That allows Adam and I to plan accordingly.
Yes, it's good to have a defensive structure. Absolutely.
Murder holes. I'm going to write that down. And then I'm going to talk. Now, like I'm purred happily. Now I will talk. It's time to bring back a hallowed Scope tradition. Jared, Adam, and I talk about the best things on the planet in a segment we call What We're Into. Pretty self-explanatory. So let's get it started. Adam, I am asking you to commence first. What are you into, sir?
This is embarrassing. But
okay,
is it
good.
though?
Yeah, it is. The thing that I have been spending the most time with over the last year is a mobile game on my cellular telephone called Marvel Snap.
Oh, I've heard of this.
It is I guess it's a CCG. I don't know. It's a card game. And your cards have abilities and you have points and blah blah blah. It's like Hearthstone, if you ever played or remember Hearthstone. Except whereas most of those types of games, Hearthstone, Gwent, other things like that, each game probably takes 15 minutes. In those, end up Marvel Snap, we're talking like 3-minute games.
Really?
And that's my jam.
So let's
nice.
We got to ask questions. I have a million questions to ask you. Number one, have you paid money to play this game?
Yeah, I've played. I mean, okay, so my feeling is, if this I play this game probably an hour a day, I would guess.
Wow.
There's 30 minutes early in the day and 30 minutes later in the day. And so if I'm gonna put that much time into a game that I'm enjoying, I don't mind, spending some money on it here and there.
Can we ask a personal question? How much money do you think you've spent on it in the past year?
They do a monthly. This is easy. So they would do a monthly season pass. And so that's $10 a month, mode. And it's the 1 year anniversary is coming up sometime this month. So whatever 12 times 10 is $120. And then there've been like probably a handful of $5 ones in there. So let's say $150. I'll say $150.
See how quickly he did that math, Shane?
This guy is he's like a Rain Man type. He's a savant. So you don't. It's not like Pokemon where you buy coins. You just buy the season pass and that covers everything you need. Or can you buy cards or buy like?
You can spend lots of money. It's mostly cosmetic stuff though. You have your Thanos card, but if you want like a cooler looking Thanos card, you can spend $10 and get a cooler looking Thanos card or whatever.
So you spent an extra $10 at least for Thanos.
No, I don't like the Thanos deck archetype is not for me.
All right.
But that's one.
Jared, can you get some sound effects getting ready for game show sound effects? I want to ask Adam, and you can ask questions too, Jared. Please play along.
Do I
Adam, so you said this is a Marvel game, correct?
Mm-hmm.
So it probably has.
It's free to play. Hey, you guys can check it out anytime you want. You can play it on.
Could I play
your
against
phone?
you?
Yeah. Yes, you can do friendly battles against each other.
So I'm going to ask you certain Marvel characters because this is just boggling my mind.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask you if they are in this game.
Go for it. I'll tell you what their abilities are too.
Okay. So I can't believe for a second, Jared, that in this game you would have like Captain America cannot be in this game, right?
Captain America is in this game.
Really?
Uh-huh.
So what is Captain America's ability?
He gives +2 to every other card in your lane.
Oh yeah, he's a big support guy.
Jared, give us a really obscure Marvel superhero that just possibly would never be in this game.
Jeez, a really obscure Marvel.
Yeah. How about Man Thing?
Hero. It feels
Man
like you're
Thing
just
came out this week.
You're just going to give us one that is in there. That's not real fair.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm not an encyclopedic Marvel guy.
What about the Thing? The Thing can't be in this.
Well,
game.
Is Iron Man in there?
Iron Man's not. There's no way they would put Iron Man.
You see Man Thing?
There he is.
Man Thing.
Can you get a sparkly Man Thing?
Yeah. Can you get cosmetics?
You upgrade your cards and they get like effects and stuff. They don't do anything. Wow. It's just like they just look cooler and stuff.
Okay, Jared, let's not F around here. Let's actually give him some real. Let's
come on.
Dig deep. Let's dig deep.
There are ones I have never heard of that are in this game.
Okay, so I'm going to go back to the 90s, late 80s, early 90s.
Let's do it. Dokken. You're going to say Dokken or Dakin? He's in the game.
Rob Liefeld. Strife. Is Strife in this game?
Strife's not in the game yet. No. Strife might be... no Strife yet.
Jared, that's amazing. I've already stumped him. What about Maggots?
Strife is not in the game, but the leaks have shown that Strife is, Strife is in the game somewhere. He's just not like released yet. If your opponent has 12 plus power here at the end of any turn, destroy this card.
There's leaks in this game. People are leaking information. What about Strong Guy?
Strong Guy is in the game. Yep. Strong Guy, if your hand is empty, character? +6 power.
That's a good one.
He's got a cool look. And then you can see some of his. I like this. Let's see if we can get this focused a little bit. No, this is good content right here, guys.
Yeah. How about like a Puck from Alpha Flight?
Ooh, that's a good one.
Puck is not in the game. No. Yeah.
I stumped him. Found him.
Another stumper. What about?
You didn't stump me. Oh
goodness.
God.
Gonna have to move on from this segment here.
Jared, we stumped Adam.
Oh no, Adam!
And now he's dying.
Yeah. Thanks, guys.
He did warn us. Here,
I'll just go alphabetically. You ready? We've got Abomination.
Start naming everyone.
We've got Absorbing Man. We've got Arrow. Do you know who Arrow is? Arrow and Wave.
I don't.
Yeah.
No.
That sounds like you're just making up names.
We've got Eliath. Angela and Sarah?
What?
No.
Yeah, I didn't either. We got Angela and Sarah.
Is Angela a former Neil Gaiman character? Is that who it is? Is she like an angel?
Maybe. She looks like it. So
yeah, that was actually an Image Spawn character that was
interesting.
Yeah.
I gotta tell you, the best card art in the game.
Can we jump to the J's?
Okay, hold on. I just gotta show you this Arnim Zola. This one is currently for sale. This is a Game Boy Arnim Zola.
Oh, that's pretty funny.
Right? That's $10 right now. The normal Arnim Zola just to kind of give I'm
enraptured by the cinema veritas of Adam moving his camera around to show us the screen.
Yeah, I love it. I love it.
All right, we're going down to the J's.
Do you have a J, Jared, that you want to ask about?
No, I just as a J named person, I have an affinity for people with J's.
Jeff the Baby Land Shark, Jean Grey, Jane Foster, Mighty Thor, Jubilee, Jessica Jones, Juggernaut. Those are all the J's.
Wow.
So it's not enough though. Should be more.
My favorite superhero, Machine Man. That's
no Machine Man. No, good. Okay. That's a good one.
My favorite Marvel character from a kid he's a former X-Men. That would be Longshot. My guess is he is not in the game.
No Longshot.
Boy, this game sucks.
Not a lot of love for Longshot these days.
So
when is he going to get his due?
Jared, I guess if you like Spider-Man, if you like
you're
Hulk,
well covered.
If you like Iron Man, this is a game for you. But if you like any other hero, forget it. Wow. $10 a month, baby. $150 to play Iron Man.
Not $10 a month. $10 when you want to get extra stuff.
Gotcha. So extra stuff is like cards, or is it like
so like every month there's like
what does that mean?
There's one, card of the month or whatever that will be available later to non-paying people, but you can get it early by doing that. And it's usually like, maybe slightly overpowered and then they nerf it later.
We know it's not Machine Man.
No, not Machine Man.
Exactly.
No.
All right. So Marvel Snap for Adam. Jared, let's go on to you. What are you into, sir?
So I've got a couple things. You want me to do both, or do you want me to?
Absolutely.
You want me to do both?
Yeah.
All right.
But plot your time wisely. That's what I would say.
Well, I mean, one of them is I don't know how much I can talk about it. But I think it's been a big focus of kind of my summer and sort of, I don't know, just where I'm at in my life right now. It's like I've really started to have an interest in like hiking and exploration. Not like we're not talking like I'm going to go doing solo trails in Yosemite or anything like that anytime soon. I'm very much focused on the fact that I've discovered there's a lot of trails in the Twin Cities area, like in the woods and along rivers and stuff like that are just there. And I just never bothered to explore them before. And I've just decided that, I'm bored of walking around my neighborhood. Why don't I go out and explore what's out there in my region? And so I've just sort of made it a point when I have time and when the weather permits that I'm going to get out there and do some exploration. So
will you do winter exploring, Jared?
We'll see how it goes. This is a kind of a relatively new hobby for me. Part of it might be the idea that, I'm acknowledging my aging and I don't like it. And I'm very much in a use it or lose it mode. So I'm choosing to use it while I can. I've discovered that I can't use it as hard as I would like to, because when I do, I could get injured.
Are we talking about hiking or something else?
I mean, we are talking about hiking, but there are life lessons to be learned.
Across the board. This is
across the board. So anyway, as part of hiking, there's number one, I just kind of started just exploring, looking for trails on Google Maps, which is fine, but honestly, you're not going to find good stuff that way. So what I finally did is I downloaded an app called All Trails. There's a couple of other ones you can get, but All Trails was the one I tried, probably because it starts with an A. I just started at the top of the list. And All Trails is like, you can subscribe and get a whole bunch of features, but even the free version has like, you can just look at the map and see all of these different routes that people have created around the Twin Cities. and you can just pick them. They're graded by like difficulty, distance, and all that kind of stuff. So you can just like find, I want a 40-minute hike. Here's one here that's in Bloomington. I can walk down 9 Mile Creek if I want to. If I want to go a little longer, here's a 6 mile one that'll probably shred your Achilles. Maybe not. Who knows? Maybe I'm speaking from personal experience. I don't know. Anyway, I'm finding it a lot of fun playing with the app, and it's sort of like it does a really good job of tracking your location and progress. So I don't know. I'm just finding that really interesting to the point where I finally bought myself a pair of nice hiking shoes. Not super expensive, just some sort of starter shoes, but they give me, better grip on the trails, as it were. Yeah.
Is this a solo endeavor, or would you be willing to invite friends?
I would be open to companions on my hikes. It generally has been a solo one. I've kind of used it as sort of a mental a time to be able to just sort of be with my thoughts and also to catch up on podcasts. And so it is kind of fun to be out there just by myself. And I like Angela would never go on some of these with me. She'll go on the simple walks, but she's not into the distance ones, and she's not into the ones where there's like significant elevation change, or where I'm just sort of like, I'm on this route, but there's also this interesting trail over here I might want to explore. And then I'll get, 30 feet down that and realize like, maybe I don't want to like tumble down this ridge and be lost for several hours until someone finds me. So I'm going to go back. But yeah, I sort of just like follow a route. And then if there's opportunities for exploration, I'll go off the beaten path and like check some stuff out. So kind of related to this endeavor is, and this one is one Angela has sort of joined me on, is we've sort of gotten into birding a little bit.
Oh my goodness.
And
this is where we're at?
This is where we're at. We're into birding.
Hiking and birding.
Hiking and birding. We took a kind of an introductory birding. I don't know if it was, what was it? It was, but we were in Omaha, and there is a regional forest called Fontenelle Forest there. And they offered, while we were in town, they had a 2-hour birding session in this forest, and they had a guide that would take you out, and they would walk you down the trails, and they like point out birds. Like here's some turkey vultures. There's some actual like turkeys. I want to call them ground turkeys, but they're just turkeys. She would point out all these other birds. Everyone had there's an app called Merlin. If you've not played with this is an app that is used for identifying birds. You can record sounds and it'll identify them. You can put in like descriptions of them and it'll ID them. It's well used in the birding community, I will say. So everyone had that out. It was just fun to kind of walk around and like listen for the birds and stuff like that. It might be next weekend. I think there is actually the local Audubon Society is doing a birding course too, which we may sign up for. I don't know. Anyway, I got binoculars for my birthday, so I got to take those out and start looking at birds up close. It's a thing, you just start to like try to experience the world a little bit. And sort of related to that, I decided that for my birthday week, I was going to take a trip down to Southeast Minnesota and go visit some caves. Y'all know we have caves in Minnesota?
I did, but you told me.
Yes.
Yeah. St. Paul has some, right?
Those are like man-made caves. I'm talking like natural caves.
Got it.
So there are, I'm now an expert, obviously. So I will tell you that there are now 2 publicly accessible cave formations in Minnesota. And I've seen
cheese. Are they cheese caves or are they different kind of caves?
No, they're like real, like normal caves. Like they're not meant for storing cheese. They're just like natural formations. So what I learned is that Southeast Minnesota is outside of, it's called the driftless zone. It's outside of where the glaciers reached during the Ice Age. And so it wasn't covered in glaciers or anything like that. So the side effect of that is that water's been running the whole time, carving out these caves underground. That's the TLDR of it. So some pretty cool caves down there. We went to Niagara Cave, which is a privately owned cave. It's the smaller of the 2. It's pretty slick. Go underground. So it gets a little narrow at times, but it's not too tragic. And then we went to another one called Mystery Cave, which is actually owned by the State Park Service. And we just went on the normal scenic tour. They offered a whole bunch of other tours. I may go back next year and take one of the more elaborate tours. So
wow,
that is the thing. I'm into hiking and exploration now.
hiking, birding, and caves. That's you know, I don't see you or talk to you in a few weeks, and boom, a whole new Jared comes out.
Yep, I'm an outdoorsman now. Do you want me to go into the other one, or do you want to?
Oh, that wasn't. I
told you I had two items. I had two items. One of them is the outdoor
two
part.
items. Item one.
Item
section
one is
A.
What do you want from me?
I love it. Okay.
Do you want the other one now or not?
I want something that's super nerdy.
Okay, this one is super nerdy. The other one, the indoor kid part of me, is somehow really into the corner of YouTube that is all about making things and restoring retro computers.
Oh yeah.
I have no interest in actually owning any of these retro computers or actually making anything, but I'm sort of fascinated by the process and just watching people sort of troubleshoot their way around things and figure it out. Like, so from the making side of things, I've been watching a lot of, if you're probably familiar with Adam Savage, right? From Mythbusters. Mm-hmm. He's got a long running company called Tested with a YouTube channel. And so like almost every day he's got a video out that's either a Q&A where he's just answering listener or viewer questions about industry, process, all that kind of stuff, or he's building something, or he's out and about at a like he's done a whole series on the building of the latest Princess Cruise Line ship. And this thing is massive, and it's just, I don't know. To me, it's interesting, the logistics of it all and how it goes together. So I'm just really enjoy like watching him build. I just watched a video before this where he just made a book. He got some handmade paper from Amazon, said, I'm going to make a book. And he made a book, and I watched him do it. And I was like, that's cool. I would never do that, but it's fun to watch someone who is, good at manipulating materials into something, come up with something at the end. I just really find that interesting. Another maker type channel I watch is called I Like to Make Stuff.
It's a little on the nose, wouldn't you say?
Well, yeah, but I think his name is Bob, but he's got a team around him, and they just there's like a video once a week. Oh, I just remembered on another channel I need to add to that. But I'll get to that in a second here. Yeah, and so just like, I'm going to make this custom Star Wars cabinet with a built-in TV screen that shows some stuff. Like maybe, I don't remember if it has like built-in video games or whatever, but he's built like an R2-D2 droid. He's built like all kinds of like, taken an IKEA cabinet and expanded it, or like added lighting and doors and stuff like that. It's all kinds of stuff like that. I find it interesting to see the process. And another builder I watch is a UK guy named Colin Furze, Furze. What I've been fascinated, he makes these like crazy machines. Like, it's a lot of welding and a lot of just metal work. So he'll build like a crazy thing he wanted to like be able to fly or jump around like the characters from Assassin's Creed. Or it was another game, but it's very similar to that. So he built like this cantilevered arm that he could strap himself into, so he could like jump in the air and like spin around and stuff like that. It's crazy. Stuff like that. But his big project he's been working on has been making this underground tunnel complex between his house and his underground bunker that he built in the past, and his work shed. So he's been just excavating under the ground and then like framing it all out in steel and like backfilling it with concrete and stuff like that, and just documenting the whole process. And he's got like, really super hyper personality. So he's entertaining to watch. But I don't know. I find it really interesting. The other part of it is the whole retro computer restoration stuff, which again, I never really owned any of these computers. So they're sort of fascinating from that standpoint. But I like to watch people sort of have a process, diagnose problems, and fix them. So real fast, a bunch of the channels I watch is like Adrian's Digital Basement. He covers a lot of like PC stuff, some Macintosh, but usually it's late 70s, early 80s stuff where he's just fixing old IBM PCs or swapping out CRTs, stuff like that. You've got Action Retro, who's almost primarily like 90s vintage Macintosh shenanigans, where he'll just take like 20th anniversary Macintosh and like supercharge it with whatever aftermarket add-ons he can get his hands on. It's pretty crazy. You've probably heard of LGR. He's been around forever, just doing like reviews and stuff of 80s and actually mostly 90s and early 2000s PC stuff. 8-bit guy who does a lot of 8-bit computer stuff. So a lot of 80s computer stuff. Lately this was like a weird YouTube recommendation. This channel called Usagi Electric. And he's been doing this whole series on restoring, I don't even know what kind of computer it is, but he's been restoring like 60s and 70s mini computers. So if you're not familiar with what a mini computer is, it's actually like the precursor to what a microcomputer is, which is like your Apple IIs and your Commodore 64, stuff like that. These are like self-contained. They're not a mainframe. They're self-contained computer systems, but they're big. They're beefy. They've got like big CRTs and they've got just big chassis, and they've got things like drum memory. Like it's like this physical drum that rotates, and that's how the memory was stored. And I'm just sort of like fascinated to see, like, how do you fix this stuff? How did this even work? This was like the state of the art at one point, and it's just sort of like blows my mind that this exists. So anyway, that stuff just kind of comes my way as far as I don't necessarily subscribe to these channels, but because of my viewing habits on YouTube, they just sort of get recommended to me. So I've watched a number of these videos from these various channels, and I find it really, really interesting. That's it.
That's you said a mouthful, Jared. I watched the 8-Bit Guy. He's sort of fallen out of my algorithm lately. Yeah, but
he hasn't posted very frequently. He actually just has a new video today about the Apple II, so I'll be watching that at some point. But
I kind of got into like vintage and also modern video game repair stuff. So repairing cartridges, repairing old NESs, stuff like that. I found that to be really fascinating. It almost makes it look like I could do that stuff, but then I realized there's no way. If I bought a broken Super Nintendo, I could clean it, but that would be about it. Anything else, way beyond my skill level.
You're like that guy who like just kind of did it silently, right? You just heard the sounds of him. Like, I tried watching that, but I think it's a great channel. But it didn't work for me because I'm not always. It's kind of a 2-screen experience for me. I'm not usually on this thing while those other videos are going on, so I need some talking.
Yeah,
I need to hear something going on.
I went through a phase with that, and then I went to other people that actually talked you through it.
Yeah,
I just found that more engaging. But that's not what I'm here to talk about. I'll talk about the thing that I'm into right now, and what I'm into actually just ended the. Probably yesterday, I think. It is the podcast Strike Force 5. I'm sure you guys both know about it, but it was a limited series podcast hosted by Stephen Colbert, Jimmy Fallon, Jimmy Kimmel, Seth Meyers, and John Oliver. I think it came out late August, and it was created to support the host's employees who were out of work due to the Writers Guild strike. And so, these hosts jump onto Zoom and they essentially raise money for their staff. When it came out, it was the #1 podcast in Spotify and Apple. And they've had a number of guests. I think they did 11 episodes, and like Jon Stewart and David Letterman were on episodes. And I think that there were plans to get Conan O'Brien on, but the strike ended. And voila, they stopped doing it. So one thing that this show sort of skirts around is the fact that when Strike Force 5 first came out, a lot of bad press about Jimmy Fallon hit. I don't know if you guys knew that, but like he was, it was claimed by former staff and current staff that he was not easy to work with, just almost tyrant. And there were some other things that came out about a year and a half ago that sort of involved some sort of unseemly behavior back in the SNL days that sort of got overlooked, that may have been buried. So that kind of put a damper on this, just because, you think about these hosts and like they're, they tell the truth, they're commenting on what society is at the time, and they really dance around it. However, the thing that I really enjoyed about this was, every host sort of had their persona, which, you've seen on their shows, and you just sort of wonder if that's real. Like Stephen Colbert is kind of like the elder statesman who's really, really smart and really nice. And Jimmy Kimmel's kind of like, a guy that could be your buddy who also is pretty nice. Seth Meyers is kind of like that closet sarcastic guy who might be the funniest person there. John Oliver is the glass half empty, Mr. Negative, probably bad self-image.
Who is actually the funniest guy there.
And then you've got Jimmy Fallon, who is sort of like, the younger brother that wants everybody to pay attention to him when he's hanging out with the guys and I think everybody here would agree that Jimmy Fallon on a whole is probably the least funny of them, maybe the least clever. Although he was very good on Saturday Night Live as a talk show host, I don't think he's very good, and I've not really liked him. So I was really curious how I would react to the show. And as the show progressed episode to episode, you'd find that the other 4 hosts would kind of give Jimmy a hard time. He would be the butt of the joke. And I found it really entertaining, and I found it really telling. And I decided to pull a clip of episode 5, and sort of the way the show worked is each host each week would get a chance to essentially run the show, come up with the topics, and then, bring everybody into it. And Jimmy Fallon decided to do a show in which he called it the Strike Force Wives. And the whole idea was that he would run a newlywed type of game show where he would contact the wives of all the other talk show hosts, get their answers to questions, and then see if the other 4 guys could, actually, and him too, could match the answers. So here is a little clip of Jimmy Fallon not doing the greatest job on that. Hit it, Jared.
Jimmy Kimmel, I talked to Molly, your wife, and what do you think was her answer? Do you remember when you fell in love, and when you knew that?
When she fell in love, or when I fell in love?
That's why it makes the game a little confusing.
Yeah. You wrote these questions so badly.
Yeah, because I think it's when you fell in love.
No, you can say, I think it's your fucking question.
So you're asking our wives. My lawyer is pointing at me saying, say, I think.
This is the exact conversation I had with Kate last night. What does he mean? I went, I don't know, man. Climb inside his head. It's a happier place.
I do like that each question, though, we respond by putting Jimmy on the spot. But what do you mean?
You asked the question. I don't know, guys. I guess it's
right,
just it's a thought
Aren't you
exercise.
nominated for an Emmy for Best Game Show Host?
I need segment producers so bad and writers. I miss everybody so bad.
There we go. So, I mean, that was about halfway through the run of shows, and it sort of continued from there. And in the second to last episode, they actually brought back Strike Force Wives. And you'd think that it would, you revisit something like that, it's not going to be successful, but guess what? It was very, very successful. So if you guys have a good 11 hours to get inside the minds of some talk show hosts, I would really recommend it, especially if you like hearing a little bit behind the scenes in terms of how these shows are done and just the process and some of their inspirations and stuff. Because I've loved talk show hosts and late night talk shows since Letterman. I watched Letterman when I was a little kid. And so all this stuff is really, really fascinating to me. So Strike Force 5, finite series. If you can get over your Jimmy Fallon issues, it is definitely a good listen. So
sounds like he's the butt of the joke the whole time.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
This is a podcast I didn't realize existed until probably episode 6. And I was about to start listening to it, and then the writer's strike ended. And I'm like, well, that's probably it for that show. I'm like, maybe I'll come back to it at some point. But I don't know. It seems like I'll keep it on my list of things to get to when I need like a big chunk of entertainment. Like that's kind of how I got into Dead Eyes, which isn't that coming back at some point?
I don't know. But Dead Eyes is fantastic. So.
I was just like, oh, it's just too much for me. But then I needed like a whole bunch of content when I was doing work on the bedroom upstairs to like repaint and build desks and stuff like that. So it's like, all right, time for Dead Eyes. I'm just gonna binge that while I'm painting the room. So I'll wait for an opportunity where I need a bunch of time or a bunch of entertainment to tide me through a long period of time, and I don't feel like being depressed by the latest season of Serial.
Right. Well, this is good, and the fun thing about it is just seeing very quick-witted, smart people just constantly hit you with jokes, and it's pretty much the antithesis of this show. If you want to know the truth, we're the opposite of them. So if you want to hear podcast comedy done right, that's the show you go to.
Hold on. Please hold for. There we go.
That's it. That is the perfect timing of Strike Force 5 in a gong. So, Marvel Snap,
Yep.
Birds, cheese caves, hiking.
Cheese caves? There's no cheese caves. What are you talking about?
And John Oliver. That's what everyone should take from this. That's what we're into. So everybody, let's take a quick break. We will be back to wrap up the show right after this.
There's more of The Scope dead ahead.
Under the Scope.
I don't remember if that's how we did it, but that's how I did it this time. I played 3 clips back to back to get us into the end of the show. Ladies and gentlemen, it is the end of the show. We cut out all the fluff. We just get to the end. You're not listening to it anyway. This is just for us. But if you happen to be here, let me tell you, you want to go to Niagara Caves. It's a good time. There's a cat on the premises. Probably going to walk away from you, but not too fast. It'll walk away nice and slow so you can get a good view at it, but it's not there for the pets. I think it just lives there.
Cave cat.
Anyway, hey, this is the time where we read your feedback, we play your feedback, and we don't have anything. So if you would like to fill the void that is our feedback bin, comments@thescopeshow.com is the email. You can also call the voicemail line because I did just now save the Google Voice number by texting back and forth between my personal Google Voice number and the Scope one so that it doesn't get deleted in 30 days. So that should still work. 612-21-SCOPE. That is 612-217-2673. Please give it a call and keep it alive, ladies and gentlemen. We also have a Facebook page. I'm not even going to mention the Twitter because it's not even Twitter. It's X and it's bullshit and the whole place sucks. And part of the reason I didn't know that Strike Force 5 was even a thing is because the service formerly known as Twitter is such a shit show that somehow I didn't even see any mention of it in a normal pre-X world. It would have been all over the place, and I'm sure I would have seen it almost immediately and would have enjoyed it from the jump. But that is not the world we live in now. We now live in a world where we can voluntarily consume a fire hose of war propaganda and misinformation recommended by its owner. So that's fun. Anyway, don't go there. If you want to see this video, it'll be out there on the YouTube channel. You can actually see that super cool photo of Adam that I shared. You can see all of the Marvel characters that he displayed for us on his screen. You don't have to wonder what they look like. You can see it all. YouTube.com/thescopeshow. I believe that is the URL. If not, you can just go to the website, thescopeshow.com, and click on the link. And while you're there, you'll also have links to our Patreon and to our Amazon. We have an Amazon. The holidays are coming. This is out after the second of the year Prime Day celebration. They're going to be every week at some point. But if you're shopping on Amazon and you feel like clicking that link, it might help the show. We'll know. I think that's thescopeshow.com/Amazon. Do that today. Keep the lights on, as they say. And Shane, back to you.
Boy, fantastic job, Jared. That was the peppiest you've been reading those end credits in quite some time. Thank you.
And you just segued right into the downer. Shane,
yeah. Hey, I was so put off by your politics talk, Jared.
My politics talk? What are you talking about?
I don't come here for politics. I come here for shenanigans and cheese caves. That's what I come here for.
I said propaganda and misinformation. I didn't say anything about politics.
Machine Man. That's what I come here for.
You come here for Machine Man. All right. That's
what
fair.
I come here for. Well, let's wrap this up. We've got another show coming in a couple weeks, so we want you to come back and listen. But until then, for Jared, Adam, Shane, bye for now.
Ladies and gentlemen, we find ourselves once again at the end. I hope you've enjoyed our time together. I know I have. Fear not, Scope faithful. Days shall pass as if they were but a moment, and Jared, Adam, and Shane will return with another thrilling episode. Until then, send your comments to comments@thescopeshow.com or leave a voicemail message by dialing
612-21-SCOPE. That's 612-217-2673.
Thanks for listening, faithful fans. This is Tony Partington saying,
Buenas tardes.
Tune in next time to another terrific edition of The Scope.